Hey everybody, and welcome to Book Chat with Tracie and Lashell. I am Tracie. I really think that it just did it again, Lashell. How it
No,
always
it didn't. It didn't. We're live. We're good.
no, we're live now, but it just okay.
This always happens.
Every time, it's kind of become this running joke. So anyway, let's
just go with it.
Hey guys, and welcome to Book Chat with Tracie and Lashell, where anything can happen. I am Tracie. That is Lashell, and tonight we are doing an author interview. Lashell, tell us what we got.
Tonight we are talking to author Meka James. I first became aware of Meka's work. We were both participating in a weekend kind of blog hop kind of thing. It's called Weekend Writing Warriors, and it's the whole, I don't know, the hook or whatever. You post 8 sentences, no more. 8 sentences of your work, and then you go around and read all of the posts and all of that and comment. And so 8 sentences hooked me in.
Oh, nice.
And it's been a ride from there. That's all I'm gonna say.
I've never heard that story, so that really makes me happy. All right, so Meka, you want to say hi and introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Meka James, author of Fiendish, a twisted fairy tale. It's a loose, we'll say, I guess is the best way to say, adaptation of Beauty and the Beast, in a way. So, yeah, it was my spin on that sort of storyline.
Awesome. Okay, so we have a list of questions for you tonight, and Lashell was going to kick it off. She has the first question, so I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over to her and let her kick off the interview.
All right.
Lashell.
Okay, just first of all, how long have you been writing, and what genres do you write in?
Well, I write I mean, professionally, it's probably been just the last year or two, but I do, for fun, writing. I started out doing blogs, and that's been going on for about 4 years. I do blog stories and things like that. And mostly it's romance, drama kind of stuff. So that's how that works out. It's, I'm a blogger for the most part. I do blogs, and it's tied in with a game that I play.
Oh, super cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so on that same kind of track, talking about writing, I can actually trace my love of writing and reading back to some very, very important people in my past and times of my past. People who really, really inspired me, especially teachers in school. With my 8th grade English teacher, my reading teacher, my English teachers in the 9th and 10th grade, they really, really, really became this like creative foundation for me. In addition to my dad's family, they're very creative people, and they're always pushing each other and inspiring each other to do really creative things. So when someone says, "Hey Tracie, who really inspired what you're doing in life?" they're always going to get that answer. So that's kind of my question to you, like, who became like your supportive backbone and your biggest inspirations to write and to create the things that you create?
Well, when I was younger, I wasn't a fan of reading. It's one of those things. I think some kids go through it, and I was one of those kids that went through not reading. And then my stepmom, she would sort of have to make me get into reading, so that sort of opened up a lot of things for me. And then as far as the writing goes, like I said, it started just doing a blogging thing. But my husband is really great. He's supportive. He lets me do kind of what I want to do, and he's there to be like, good job, whatever. He's a great guy, so he helps me out with that. And then my younger sister, she's helpful. And when I was putting Fiendish together, she helped me sort of be my tour guide, because I'm a suburban girl and I don't get into the city much. So she helped me with getting some of the city stuff down. So she's been really great. And I have one friend that I talk to online a lot, mostly, and she's been great. She's always there to, like, if I'm getting stuck or thinking it's crap or whatever, she talks me down off the ledge. And so it's kind of those combination of people.
Yeah, that's really awesome. That's great.
It's always good to have somebody that talks you back from the ledge.
Yeah, I think we all have to have that.
She talks me off the ledge quite a bit, so it's just a struggle, and I'm glad she does, because there's been plenty of times I just wanted to call it quit, put it in the shredder, and keep it going.
Yeah, I think we all have those moments, and it's really nice to have that support and to have those people that you can call at any time, and they're like, "Hey, you got this. No need to jump off a cliff right now."
Yeah.
So, Lashell, let's talk about this book. Let's talk about Fiendish. What were your thoughts?
Oh my God. Okay. I am just going to be honest, Mika, and tell you that I hated your book. But
Okay.
I love that book so much.
Wait, I'm sorry. I was laughing. I was laughing at you telling an author you hated her book.
I know.
No one's ever
Please
going to want to.
so it's okay.
No one is ever going to want to come on book chat again because you're a bully. So okay, you hated the book,
No,
but
but you gotta hear all of it.
Okay.
That book tore me up inside.
okay.
Like, I have never had a book affect me the way this book did. It was crazy. I found myself like actually rooting for Seth. You know, I wanted Kalita to, I wanted her to stick with him and, you know, change him, make him a better person, a better man. And like about halfway through it, I'm asking myself why, because, you know, I don't want to give anything away, but he's basically a serial killer. And I talked about this book at length with my husband and with people, you know, they would see me reading, like, what are you reading? And I would go into this great big spiel, and it was heart-wrenching.
I'm sorry.
It was gut-wrenching. It was that book tripped me out, and so it just bothered me so much. It was wild. And so my question is, where did the inspiration, where did the story for Fiendish come from? It's unlike anything I've ever read, basically.
Yeah. Well, I apologize for.
Don't apologize. It was wonderful.
It hurt so good.
Kind of harsh. She hated it, but that's cool. I'll take it. Sorry, it's all good. No, honestly, I mentioned, I told you I would do a blog thing, and so with the blogging group that I'm with, it was a challenge really to take a fairy tale and put an adult spin on it. So that was the prompt that started it all. And so I was trying to think of which fairy tale I wanted to work with, and then I came up with Beauty and the Beast. And then I was like, it's been done. It's guy, rich, good looking, has a shitty attitude. Oh, can I cuss? I'm sorry. Sorry.
It's okay.
So, guy, you know the story. He has a terrible attitude, and then he has some sort of curse put upon him. He's disfigured, and then he has to learn the meaning of true love, and you see the inside, and they live happily ever after.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to do the traditional, he's gray on the inside eventually to match his outside. So I flipped it, and I was like, what if he is the best looking thing ever on the outside, but inside he is absolutely horrible.
You nailed that.
And so that's and so that's where the idea came, because when I thought about doing the prompt for the writing challenge, I didn't want to do that traditional sort of setup with Beauty and the Beast that seems to be done. No matter how they remake it, it's always sort of the same thing.
Right.
He's somehow disfigured, and at the end, he's gorgeous again, and whatever. I didn't want to do that. So that's how I did the flip. I decided to make him not disfigured in any way, and on the outside, he is the perfect package.
Right.
And it's sort of that, what lies beneath sort of situation. So you don't know, and you're dazzled by the package, but you don't really know the person. So that's kind of where the idea came from. And then it morphed as I start writing, because I don't plan anything. So it sort of morphed as I wrote, and it became what you read. So that's how it came about. It was that one prompt to figure out which fairy tale I wanted to do, then how I wanted to put my own spin on it, and then I went from there.
So you actually didn't intend for him to be a monster from the beginning?
No, he was. From the beginning. It was the flip. He was a monster, but you didn't know that when you looked at him. Because Beauty and the Beast, you look at him and he's scary, disfigured,
right.
I must go run for the hills, pitchforks, lantern, whatever. it wasn't that sort of thing. When you looked at him, you were like, damn, that's a hot ass man. That was supposed to be the appeal. And it was sort of like he's fishing. He was the lure and he reeled him in.
Right.
And then he does what he did once he got them. And so that was sort of the way I wanted to work it. So yes, he was always supposed to be a bad guy from the beginning. So that was my spin on the beast half of it.
Okay. Wow.
We need to get a bleeper button for this show.
I'm sorry.
You are so fine. I'm totally kidding you. You are. We have another author interview coming up in a couple of months, and I already know we need a bleeper button for her. So, it's all good. You're just kind of easing us into it. So yeah. Lashell, did you? I don't think you asked your next question, did you?
No, I haven't. I'm still stuck on where it came. I have been so excited for this interview because this book, honestly, it was disturbing is the word that comes to mind.
It is.
But in a good way. I mean, I could not put it down. I could not put it down. And he was so charming and sexy and romantic. Oh my God, the romance. But
he was supposed to.
Okay, so after a lot of, like I said, I discussed this book at length with my husband especially because he was like, why I'm yelling at my Kindle, yelling at the characters, and he's like, what are you reading? So I discussed it at length with him, and after a whole lot of talking with him and heartache and introspection, I think the reason I was affected so much by this book is because I kept expecting the happily ever after.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I think the title, A Twisted Fairy Tale,
yes,
it's kind of misleading in a way, and I'm not really sure that it serves the book very well because it's just so not that. I mean, the word fairy tale implies a happy ending and a magical romance that is going to last a lifetime. But Fiendish is not that. And
no.
So
well, there's that twisted part in front of it, so.
Well, yeah, there's that, but even a twisted fairy tale, I wasn't expecting what I got. And that's not a bad thing. It's just it was so not what I was expecting. So right. I was wondering, why did you choose to title it that way?
Well, that comes back to the origin of how it started. Like I said, the writing. The prompt was to take an adult fairy tale and put a twist on it. So it really goes to the origin of how it started, and so I kept it with its origins. So that's kind of why it's on there, because it's taking off of the fairy tale of Beauty and the Beast, but it has been twisted a lot in this case. For the adult spin on it, and in a different way. So that's really where that came in. And you aren't the first one to say that the fairy tale part is kind of misleading.
Really?
As a new author, I read the reviews, and they were like, that fairy tale sort of is like a bait and switch.
Okay.
So you aren't the first one, and I even had a reader send me a message on Goodreads talking about maybe you should take that part off.
Oh, really?
I mean, it wasn't a bad thing. He liked the book. He really did, but he thought sort of the same thing, that it sort of took away from the book in a way to have that on there. But but because it's for its origins, I didn't take it off. I mean, I could just call it Fiendish, but you don't really get how, so I just left it on there. It's misleading, I guess, kind of sort of in a way. But I am sticking to the roots of how the story started.
Yeah.
And that's how, and so that's how the story started, being just that, a twisted adult fairy tale. So that's why it's sort of labeled that way. It's sort of like that subtitle thing. Because, so that's how it started. I'm sorry.
No, hey,
there's no need to apologize.
We wanted an answer, and she got an answer, so
right.
that matters.
Yeah.
I kind of agreed with her with the twisted fairy tale thing at first because I'm like, I actually heard a lot about the book from her before I actually started reading it, and I don't think I would have expected the ending that I got if she had at least said, brace yourself, because that's what you think it's going to be. I'm like, okay.
I think those might have been my exact words, too.
Yeah. So if I had gone into it without that, I probably would have felt a little like, because, you know, I'm all about my happy ending. So I probably would have been like, I can't do it. I can't do it. But yeah. So, you know. All right. So anyway, I want to talk about a little bit about your characterization and your characters. Because I actually really liked Macy. As I read her character in the beginning, like I kept thinking, this is my sister. Like this in my head, she was my sister, and she reminded me so much of her. So I do that a lot when I read.
That's a nice thing to say.
Yeah, like I see a lot of
Assuming
people.
you're like your sister.
Most of the time. Hi, Sarah. So, you know, I see people that I know and that I love and that I care about in the characters that I read. And I'm wondering, when you wrote your characters, when you wrote Macy and Kalita and Seth, maybe, did you base any of those characters off of people that you know, not necessarily, you know, every little characterization, but even loosely, are they based off of anyone that you know?
Well, when I started writing them, it wasn't, but as their characters grew and developed, I noticed that Macy is a lot like my younger sister, the one that was my tour guide in the city.
Okay.
Because she's fun, she's free-spirited, she, you know, tells it like it is when it needs to be told.
Yeah.
And so you probably see a little bit of Christina in Macy. She's, you know, because she's like that. And she likes to just have a good time, and that was Macy. And she's sort of your die-hard person, so if you need something, she's there.
Yeah.
So you know you can count on her and that sort of thing. So in that aspect, probably you might see a little bit of Christina and Macy. For Kalita, she started out she's kind of naive, I will admit that.
Yeah.
She may be a lot naive at times. But but she's good. And I have a friend, another friend, and she is sweetest person you could meet. And people could probably easily take advantage of her because she does want to honestly help people do right by them and that sort of thing. So you probably get a little bit of that because a lot of people are cynical. They don't care. They're out for themselves, and the others aren't as important. But I, you know, have a friend, she's like, you know, she's great with her family. She wants to be sweet. She wants to always do the right thing. And so a little bit of that played into how Kalita, because there are people like that out there in the world.
Yeah.
Seth, no one that I know personally is based off of. I'd have to completely reevaluate my life if I knew a real life Seth person.
I was thinking, you know, maybe I shouldn't even ask, but there's that chance that she had that boyfriend in the past who was like murdering people, and that's where it came from.
No. I don't. If they were, I didn't know about it, and I got out before I found out about it, so I count it as a win. But no, Seth is completely in my head, and he's more based off of. I watch movies and things like that, so he's based off characters more so that sort of way, off of like I would watch
in a bit.
TV and things like that.
So this next question that I had for you, I'm not even kidding. In my notes, I wrote, so an ice cream truck just drove by as I started this question. So now I feel like I need to ask you what your favorite ice cream is. And that was actually what happened as I was doing the interview questions. So I'm going to stop here before I even ask you. And what's your favorite ice cream? What's your favorite ice cream?
Butter pecan.
Okay, see, now we can move on. That was just like my ADD getting in the way. So the real question is, how long did it take you from start to finish to write Fiendish? And you can define start from the time that the idea hit you or from the time you wrote the first word, and finish, I guess, would be about the time you published it. So what was that timeline like for you?
3 years.
Wow. Wow.
I was not expecting that answer.
That's impressive. Well, that's a long time.
Well, here's the thing. Because it started out as a blog story, you write those basically one chapter at a time. And sometimes I'd go months without updating because life or whatever. Now,
Yeah.
if you want to talk about the time it took me from when I converted from a blog story, because a lot of things had to be worked out, ironed out to make it from blog to publishable that people will be willing to spend money on sort of situation.
Yeah.
That was more like a year. Again, because I'm a slow writer and I have children and they take up a lot of my time.
Yeah.
So I can't just hole away. It'd be nice. I tell my husband I need a writing cave, but I can't just sort of hole away. So, yeah. So from the time I decided to publish it to when it was finished, that was probably about a year.
Oh my goodness. Well, congratulations. I mean, that's a lot of dedication to spend 3 years on one project, because I know I would probably lose my mind trying to do that.
Well, because I didn't look at it as a whole at the time.
Yeah.
It was a by the chapter sort of situation. So
and it's a long book.
You don't know the time passes when you're doing it that way.
Well, see, I didn't understand that was kind of how you started it and how you were doing it. So I'm going to ask you a question that's not even on the interview, so I'm sorry for that. But so when you started writing it as a blog, kind of like chapter by chapter thing, did you have any intention of turning it into a novel eventually? And there was another question I was going to ask you, so you can answer that one first while I try to remember what the last one was.
The answer to that will be no. When I started writing it, it was for fun, just because I enjoyed it and I had fun interacting with the people that were reading it and commenting and things like that. But I had one friend, and she's actually who the book is dedicated, Jill. In the front of the book, it's the dedication to her in memorial. She was the one who was like, Micah, you've got to get this out there. You've got to, give it to more people than my little bubble.
Yeah.
So she was really the driving force that made me switch it over from a blog to making it into a published work, because she likes the darker stuff, and so when I started writing it, she was like my #1 cheerleader. She was like, go, go, go. So
awesome.
she was the one who really encouraged me to go and switch it over. And then she, when she passed away, that's why the book was dedicated to her, because she passed away from a heart attack suddenly. So that was kind of sad and a bummer. So then I was really driven to finish the product before, for her in that sense.
Yeah, that's a very touching story. I'm sorry for your loss. Yeah. That's really rough.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's really rough. So now we're going to turn it back over to the mean person after all of that.
The mean person?
You told her you hated her book.
But I told her I loved her book, too. I loved hating it. Does that mean anything?
It means a lot. I appreciate that.
Okay, Lashell, what do you have for us?
Well, I'm thinking about Seth and about just Fiendish in general, and I'm kind of at a total loss as to what genre to put Fiendish in. I don't think it can really be classified as a true romance, even though there is a ton of romance in it, but I kind of think it might be better suited to say that it's a thriller, maybe? Do you consider Fiendish romance?
I honestly struggled with, when I was getting it together to publish, I struggled with trying to figure out where it fit.
Mm-hmm.
Because the traditional romance requires that they work it out, sunshines and rainbows, happily ever after, they ride off into the sunset on a white horse.
Yep,
kind of situation.
Or at least happily for now. Happy for now.
It's something that's more definite. And so I did. I struggled with it. And it does have those thriller aspects and a little bit of a crime mystery thing or whatever. So I struggled. And it's bad when I can't really tell you where my own book goes. But
that's kind of good, too.
It is a struggle. And then I remember when I was trying to get people to read it and review it and whatever. And the question I always got from some of the book bloggers that were, does it end in the happily ever after? So I couldn't just say no, because in the case of Fiendish, happily ever after is relative to the characters in the book.
Yep.
It's not standard.
Right.
So in a way, you could say yes, it is, or it's a happily for now. based on the situations and things that happen in the book. But it's not that traditional sort of happily ever after. So it was hard to really describe that part of the book. And so a lot of you were like, they like their happily ever after. So I'm like, okay, well, it's probably not really for you. But I do. I'm like, I still think it would be a romance. It's just that it's not a happy romance. And not all romances turn out well. If it would, divorce rate wouldn't be so high. So
You make an incredible point.
That is a very, very good point.
Not all romances turn out well. I like that. That's a great.
That's the best way I really can describe it, honestly, because I don't have a definite answer for that, because it's hard for me as I was trying to figure out how to market it, how to label it, what I should put it under. It was hard for me to figure it out because it didn't quite fit in any one category. It's sort of its own thing. it's its own. It's off in the corner, like a
It's its own thing. It's okay. I like it. I personally feel like it's like this strange mix of like psychological thriller with romantic elements and a lot of like craziness in it. But that's awesome. Like I like it. And
there's also like a little element of mystery.
I don't think that I don't think many people would actually know this about me, because I actually had someone describe me the other day as so Disney. You're just so Disney. That I'm sure many people don't realize this about me, but I love suspense and thrillers and true crime. Like if you set me down in front of a TV and said, here's 10 seasons of Bones, watch it, or 14 seasons of Snapped, I'm gonna watch it. I love that stuff. So I could watch that all day. So anyway, I got really excited reading your book because I'm thinking, surely she likes the same stuff that I like. So I'm curious now, like, were there any like books or TV shows or movies that you watched, things that are like crime shows or true crime shows that you watched or read that inspired your novel?
Oh, I do like crime shows. Before the CSIs went downhill, I watched a lot of CSI. I love Criminal Minds. That's like one of my favorite shows is watching Criminal Minds. So I watched that religiously.
Yeah.
As far as things that also helped, I liked Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Okay.
That one, I really enjoyed that one. And what was it? I'm bad with things. American Psycho. I like that movie as well.
Lachelle's like,
so, yeah, go figure, right? American Psycho. So those are sort of the things that I do like to watch, like crime dramas, or whatever. And I've seen Snapped and the First 48 and those sort of real life crime drama things. I like those as well. So I probably played a large hand in some of Seth's finer moments.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen The Punisher. But
Punisher.
You have it?
Well, I don't know.
Is this a movie or
really
TV show?
Good moments was inspired from a scene in The Punisher.
Is The Punisher a movie or a TV show?
It's a movie.
Okay.
I can't remember who's in it now because, like I said, I'm bad with names. It came out years ago. Okay. But one of the scenes that's in the book was sort of inspired by that movie. My husband, it was on TV, and I was writing, and I was like, you know what? I could think Seth would do something like that.
So, we're going to have to look into that. Meka, I like you. You think a lot like I do, where you see those things, and you're like, I could make that work. And yeah, because I swear to this day that if somebody in my life ended up like brutally murdered, they'd be like, well, have you seen Tracie's Netflix? And have you seen the stuff that she's buying? Because it's probably her who did it.
I was writing it and I was talking to my husband. He was like nervous. He was like, you're going to have to like wipe your browsing history.
I know.
And I realized as I was writing Fiendish that you can buy a lot of strange stuff off Amazon. Just in case you need to know.
I imagine.
I also like the TV show Hannibal. I love the new TV show Hannibal. And he wears this plastic people suit thing when he goes and does his murders. So it's like over his nice three-piece Italian suits, he has this plastic like ring suit. And And I'm like, I totally need one of those, and you can buy one on Amazon.
You heard it here, folks. Like, get your psycho murder gear on Amazon.
You can get your psycho murder kit on Amazon. It's great.
Book Chat with Tracie and Lashell does not condone the activities of killing people. I feel like we should throw that out there.
I think yeah, that was good.
Okay. Okay. So, Meka?
Yes?
See, I told you it was going to be so much fun. You guys had nothing to be nervous about. Everything gets fun when you start talking about murder and torture. Okay, so the first time that I actually remember hearing about you, I had never heard of your book. I hadn't heard about you. It was on my way to Cincinnati, and I get this message from Lashell where she's like, "Oh my God!" And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "You have to read this book. We have to get this girl on Book Chat. We have to. And I'm like, "Calm down. Like, I will check it out. I will let you know. I have no idea who this person is." So I did a little bit of research right there in the car, and I, eventually got to your website, and I was impressed, like so incredibly impressed by how much like history you have in blogging, like just countless amounts of blog entries, and I can never stay on top of a blog. I'm terrible at it. I always say, yeah, I'm going to blog every month or every week, and it never happens. So I'm wondering, like, before we went live on air, you said something to me that, like, really resonated. You said, I'm a full-time mom and a part-time everything else.
Yes.
And that totally just, I get that. So being a full-time mom and a part-time everything else, how in the world do you find time to make a blog happen, to keep that running?
Well, for my blog, a lot of those entries came from the blog hop that the show talked about.
Okay.
Because it was a weekly thing, so a lot of those blog entries are because you post your 8 sentences, and you did that on a weekly basis. And I think I did about 15 or 16 weeks of that. I can't remember how many I did. And then summer came upon us, and I sort of dropped off from that. So, other things was just me. But like I said, my start was blogging, so it's sort of my format that I'm comfortable in.
Okay.
Now, I don't blog as much, but a lot of those backlogs that you saw were from the Weekend Warriors blog hop. And then I just do other things, like if I've read a book and I did a review on it, that sort of thing. I'm sorry, do you hear my kids in the background?
That's okay. I've got a cat that's over here trying to get some attention, so it's all good.
They're running loops. I have a weird hallway, and they're running loops and chasing the dogs. So.
They're kids. It's awesome. No one's complaining. So,
but that's how the blog has happened. And things slow down in the summer because they're home with me. We're doing activities and that sort of thing. But I try to, because blogging is what I am most comfortable with. That's sort of my go-to thing. So if I need to do something or make a post, I'll do it on the blog before I go to Facebook or anything else.
Okay, very cool.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I am the world's worst blogger.
No, I
can
am.
go months without a blog entry.
Yeah.
And I feel bad. I feel guilty.
I posted 2 in the matter of 6 months, and I'm like,
Well, I think there was a lag recently. I think I went a couple of months without posting one. Then when my 1 year for Fiendish came up, I posted that. Then I posted I was going to be on Book Chat. So
yeah, I saw that. I was really excited. I was like, I made the blog. I'm on.
I'm going to put in a headset because they're loud and I can't hear.
Oh, sorry.
Well, we're going to wait for you to do that before we ask the next question.
Ask her now.
All right. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so can you tell us what you're working on now, and is it as dark as Fiendish?
No, it's not as dark as Fiendish. It's actually, sorry, I know. No, I am working on sort of a follow-up to Fiendish.
Oh.
So because, I guess it's hard not to say what it is without giving away what happens in Fiendish, but I'm working on a follow-up to Fiendish, and it'll have another little handy tag, Lashell, but it's not anything. It actually says what it's going to have this time on it. So whereas Fiendish was your twisted fairy tale, the new book I'm working on is called Not Broken, and it's the Happily Ever After.
Yeah!
So
I like the title, Not Broken.
How very Disney of you.
I try my best.
So I have a quick question for you about, I think this is actually the last question before Lashell jumps in for her lightning round, but I like this question a lot. So it's my understanding that you're self-published.
Correct.
Okay. Oh, okay, cool, because I'll say, correct me if I'm wrong. So what made you choose the path of self-publishing over, you know, pursuing a traditional route? Did you pursue the traditional route at all, or were you just like, hey, self-publishing is the way to go?
I did not even think about doing the traditional route.
Okay.
It wasn't even like a blip on my radar. And I think it was because I was already sort of out there. I did the blogging thing, and then I joined a few different websites, and I did research, and I looked into it. And as we went back to the talk about the genres and things like that, Fiendish is not your typical book.
Right.
And I think I kind of knew going into it, most people are going to be like, what are you trying to have a sale sort of situation?
Good point.
So it was easier, and not really easier because it's not easy to self-publish, but you know what I mean. It was just easier just to, it's mine, I can put it out there, win or lose, it's no harm done, and it's just, so that's just what I did. It took some getting used to, some learning and working and trying to figure out what was what. But
Right.
I'm learning as I go. Everything's a learning curve. You know, it's not the easiest thing to do because you got to do all your marketing and get your name out there and that dreaded social media that I struggle with at times. But it's kind of just traditional wasn't on my radar, and it seemed like there was a lot more time and effort to go into sending out query letters and figuring out what I would say in those letters. And so I was just like, I will self-publish and just leave it in the hands of the people that stumble across my book.
Yeah, I like that. Like, I mean, anyone who knows me knows that I'm on like, yay, self-publishing. So I think that's really awesome because I think Lashell's story is very similar, as is mine. Like, traditional publishing was not something that we were even thinking about. We knew we had that option, and we kind of to self-publish, and we just kind of jumped in, and we were both really excited about it. I love to know that there are other people out there who are like us.
Yeah.
We're not alone.
No, you're not alone. And it just wasn't something that I thought about. So I'm like, it's working for me. Sure, I'm not, going to be the next millionaire, but that's cool. It's really about fun and entertainment. And if I happen to strike it rich, my husband will be really excited. But he knows
we all will. We'll have you back on book chat.
I will gladly come back.
Be like, so Lashell has a fun round of lightning round questions for you. Let's hear what you got.
Okay, just really quick questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
You're up to the challenge?
I hope so.
Be gentle with her, Lashell.
Okay, coffee or tea?
Tea.
Cake or pie?
Cake.
Ugh.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Ugh.
Rock or hip hop?
Probably more rock than hip hop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Homebody or life of the party?
Homebody.
Me too. Small town. Small town or big city?
Small town.
Bigfoot, real or fake?
Undetermined? Is an option?
Like, I'm not even going to get into that.
Okay, last one. Chris Hemsworth or Channing Tatum?
Both.
Nice answer.
It's funny because I would have said, like, neither.
I'm like, how do you choose from those two? It's like, do you want to live or, oxygen or water? It's kind of, you need both.
Yeah, okay. All right, so that kind of wraps up the interview for tonight. But we want to keep you around, Meka, because we do this wrap up at the end of every show where we talk about what we're reading and what we would like to recommend, and then kind of wrap everything up. And if you have something that you want to plug, let's plug it. So Lashell, we'll let you kick that off because you're really, really good at it.
I'm not really, really good at it, but okay.
Have some confidence.
What do you want me to start with? Plugs or
yeah,
what
start with your book recommendations and what you're reading.
Okay. I really can't recommend anything right now because I haven't finished anything, but I can tell you what I'm reading.
Let's do that.
Okay, let me see if I can pull up the covers here on my Kindle. I am reading, let's see, oh, wait a minute. Give me a second.
I'm ready to write. Come on, give me something.
Okay, my Kindle's not cooperating. Okay,
well, we'll let you. Okay,
Kindle's not cooperating, but
okay.
I am reading. It's called Reconstructed by Tasha Black, and it is. It's a superhero romance, and I got it to work. There's the cover. Can you see that?
You recommended this last month, right?
Well, I said I was about to start it. Well, I'm actually into it now.
I was saying because I've already purchased it. I was writing it down, and then when you said
okay,
I'm like, I already have that. So, yay for a second round. I mean, man, she's gonna love you. Second round of recommendations.
Well, here's the next one that I'm reading because I frequently read more than one book at a time. Let me see if I can get to the cover of this one.
You should totally recommend that book that's on the shelf behind you.
Oh, that book? The Breaking Rules by Tracy Puckett? That one?
That one. Because I'm over here advertising for you, Lashell.
Okay, here's the other thing.
I should have put some books behind me.
Yes! When you strike it rich and you're a bazillionaire and you're back on the show, you'll have lots of books behind you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so the second thing I'm reading is, it's called The Balcony. Can you see that right there?
Yeah.
And it's by Maria Bernard, and I'm very into it. It's kind of rock star romance meets ghost story. It's very intriguing, and I'm really enjoying it.
Excited. I'm very excited.
So that's what I'm reading right now.
Okay, Meka, what do you have that you would like to recommend or that you're currently reading?
What am I reading? I don't think kid books count.
Yes, they do. They most certainly do.
I will probably be reading Green Eggs and Ham when I put my kids to sleep later. And
Awesome.
Or something by Dr. Seuss. That's always a good pick. But as far as grown-up books go, my Kindle is in there where the loudness is, so I'm not going to go get it. But I was just purchased the set by Clarissa Wilde. I remember her name. It's called Seek, Delirious. There's like three books in the series, and it's sort of a psychological weird thing going on. So right up my alley. So I've been reading that, or I purchased it. Once I can actually sit down to read it, I will actually read it. But that's what my last purchase, and then. I don't know. What else have I purchased recently? I purchased a book called My Time in the Affair, which has gotten fairly decent reviews, which seems like it's going to be kind of interesting. I'm not real big on cheating, but we'll see how it turns out. So we'll see where that goes. But I knew going into it, it's called My Time in the Affair, so I knew going into it what I was getting. So we'll see how that goes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I think other than that, that's kind of been it that I purchased recently. I tend to buy a lot of books because I read them, I see them, I'm like, oh, I've got to have that book, and then they sit on my Kindle collecting desk for a long time before I get around to them.
I have that one-click affliction
have
also.
Tons of a backlog. Yeah. And don't let me see a box set for 99 cents because I'll buy it even if I don't know. I'm like, it's 99 cents for like 8 books. How can I pass that up? So yeah, I have a problem. My husband's gonna yank the card off the Amazon account pretty soon, so it's all good.
Well, now I know how to sell to her. I'll just like throw all my books together for like a day, make them 99 cents for the whole group of them, and I'll have readers everywhere.
There you go.
I will buy it. I can't pass up a box set. I don't know. It's weird. If it's in a box set, I buy it. I think when I first started looking at the shelf thing, I bought the Jagged Edge series, and it's sitting. I bought your, am I saying that right?
Ivory. Jagged Ivory.
See, I told you I'm bad with names. I apologize in advance. I bought that whole box set.
She told you she hated your book, so you are welcome to forget every book.
I told her I loved her book.
Um, okay, so I have a couple of books that I want to recommend. The first one being the book that I'm reading right now. I'm about halfway through it, and I am in love with it. It's called, see, I've already forgotten what it's called. It's called Of Demons and Stones. Is that right?
Of Demons and Stones, yeah.
Yeah, by Anne L. Parks. By Anne L. Parks, and I was really, really, really excited to read this book, and it's actually, and I don't want to say that I was expecting it to be good because I was expecting it to be great, but it's better than I thought it would be, so it means it's like super, super great. So anyway, that's what I'm reading right now, and I hope that I'll finish that very, very soon. And then my next read, I bought this at a book signing a couple weeks ago. It's by Kate Roth, and it's called Last Resort, and I'm really, really excited to read it because I have been eyeballing this book. Lashell can back me up on this. I have been eyeballing this book for a couple of months, and I just really, really want to find the time to read it. So I'm excited about it. Other than that, I don't have really anything else that I'm reading or to recommend, except that I'm reading Charlotte's Web to Joseph for the third time.
My favorite.
Yeah, so
we read that one.
I love that book.
So
yes,
you know,
enjoyed that.
I recommend Charlotte's Web. So yeah,
He would probably also like Tale of Despero.
I'm sorry?
Tale of Despero.
Oh yeah, yeah. So if we're good with that, do you guys have any plugs that you would like to throw out? Do you have anything new that's coming out, or anything that you'd like to market or sell? Shameless self-promotion time, guys.
It'd be nice if I had actually gotten book 2 done, but it's still in progress. But it's coming.
I see Lashell. Lashell, you have nothing this time?
I've got the next book in the Kelly family saga. It's in editing right now, but that one's called The Smoking Gun, and I was aiming for like the end of August. Maybe I'll make that time frame. Maybe I won't, but
maybe we'll be excited no matter when it comes out. It's actually my first experience with Lashell's writing was the Kelly family, and I fell in love with them. I fell in love with Ethan, and I'm always
there's a lot of Ethan in this one. You'll like it.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Anytime she's like, I'm gonna write some Kelly, I'm like, I'm gonna read some Kelly. Like, I'm okay. I
have a book crush on Gabe myself, so. From the Lunar Falls. I meet the sheriff.
Side note on Lunar Falls, Joey Kuntz all the way. Team Joey Kuntz. Just write books about Joey Kuntz all day long.
You guys are making me blush.
Okay, so I don't have anything to plug except that I'm wrapping up the end of a book that I'm working on, and it's going to be off to my editor like in the next 2 days, and I'm really excited about that because it's been years in the making, mostly in my head, not on the screen. So yeah, I'm really excited about it, and we'll see how that goes.
I'm really excited to read it, finally.
So yeah, hopefully next month I'll have much more news for you, where that one's concerned. I'll probably be like, well, I just got my edits back from my editor, and she said it sucks, so it'll be next year. Like that's probably what it'll be, but you know. News, regardless, I'll give you some. Okay, so anyway, looking into the future for our next book chats. I know we usually only give you 3 months in advance, but I'm going to give you 4 months because we close out our first season at the end of November, and then we go on a 2-month break for December and January, and we come back for season 2 in February. So for August, on August 21st, we are going to be completely revamping the show and doing some really cool things. We're still bringing our author interviews to you, only we're going to be doing twice as many author interviews while we're also throwing in some really cool book spotlights and focusing on books and doing a very book club, book chat. We figure, hey, it's book chat, we need to be focusing on those books. And so gone are the days of writing chats and talking about all things writing, and I'm really excited. I'm very excited. It's all about books, and it's all about authors, and we're really, really excited about it. But we'll give you more information on that in August when we relaunch the show. So join us on Friday, August 21st for the big day. Also, I feel like I need to throw it out there that we're doing a massive book giveaway that very day.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, see, Lashell forgot. Like, that's craziness. We are doing a massive book giveaway on the 21st of August, so you guys really, really, really don't want to miss that. we'll give you more details about what kind of books we're giving away and what we're giving away, and we're really, really excited. So please join us. And then on September 25th, I just told you guys about Of Demons and Stones. We're going to have the author of that book, Ann L. Parks, join us for an interview. You guys met her briefly during our Live from New York book chat. I'm sorry if you watched that. But
and if you haven't seen it, please watch it. You'll laugh. You'll laugh a lot.
I don't know if you'll understand any of it because we didn't stop laughing the whole time. But then we're going to be doing back-to-back interviews. So after we talked to A&L Parks, the very next month in October, we're going to be talking to my very first writing friend, the first connection that I made in self-publishing, Elizabeth Barone. And I'm so excited. I can barely sit still to talk to her. When I sent her a message, I'm like, hey, would you be interested in doing this? And when she said yes, I about fell off the chair. I was so excited. So then in November, we're going to be doing another book spotlight. The details are on the website. If you guys want to check out the books that we're going to be reading, you can follow along with us and join us in a book club discussion. We're going to be doing giveaways every single month now, starting in August. So that's all I have for book chat. And if you guys want to say goodbye, I guess that's the end of the show for tonight.
Bye.
Bye.
Until next time.